Hey, welcome to Old Ass Movie Reviews. I'm Scott. There's Dave over here. And we have made it into the second movie of the only trilogy that matters.
Yes, sir.
Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back, also known as Episode 5.
No,
No, it is Episode
it's the
5.
only trilogy that matters.
Yeah, it's the trilogy. 4, 5, and 6.
Trilogy.
The only trilogy that matters. I love this movie. It immediately has a different feel, a different vibe, different energy. The actors are more into their roles at this point. You can really see it in all of them that they have really started to embrace these characters.
And they've all done such a good job, all of them.
Yeah. I want to talk about my adventures just watching this movie. We had talked on the last podcast, or I don't know if it was on the podcast or before or after. I'd always wanted to find the Laserdisc for this, and because I wanted to see it unfucked version. He
doesn't mean the porno version, folks. He just means version that was untouched.
Lucas, his vision was fine. Yes, I get he wanted to add some shit, but it distracts. It takes away. It's not the same thing, and we're not going to rehash the Han shot first shit because he did. And that's Empire. Okay, so anyway, I got I actually was in an antique store a couple weeks ago, found the Laserdisc, about shit myself. I texted you.
Yeah, you sent me the pictures. I was like, that's freaking awesome.
Yeah, so I bought them. I bought them. I got home. And I have an old ass Laserdisc player that I bought for cheap a while back, and it's not an actual. It's a karaoke machine Laserdisc player.
Oh no, really?
It'll play movies, but man, it was really struggling with these.
Really?
It just kept freezing and everything on me. So it's like fuck. So then I went digging through my closet, and I have the VHS unfucked versions on VHS. Only they're pan and scan 4x3. Which is fine. Now I started watching those last night. I started watching Empire on VHS, and it was neat to see the visual difference. But I will say this to anybody who's looking at old media, and I should have realized this: when you put old ass media on a brand new 50-inch super high def TV, it can't handle it. It needs to be on a smaller CRT, old school TV, and it'll look fine. It looks like complete ass on a big screen. I mean, really bad. So bad that I ended up watching the special edition.
Can you ratio that on your TV? Like I have settings on most of my machinery that I can ratio it down to the square.
Oh, well, it was square. It was square, but because they didn't, since it wasn't it wasn't a widescreen edition, I was missing everything. And an example of that is the crawl at the beginning has to almost be gone by the time you see it. It's starting, but it's taking up everything until you get up higher.
Yeah.
And it's like, because they've cut everything off. It looked okay, but I am so used to being spoiled with 4K graphics, great sound. I want to feel the bass and everything. I just stopped right where I was. I was only about 15, 20 minutes in and just went and started streaming the special edition, which looked really great. And I don't know because I haven't researched, but I don't know how much this one was edited from the other. I didn't see as many crazy shit as we saw in episode 4.
Yeah, nothing is drastic. I have a note. The one thing really sticks out for me on this particular one. One edit was awesome. Was more Wampa, more of the big snow beast. After he cuts his arm off. Because in the original cut, you don't see him I don't think you see him holding his arm. I don't think you really see him eating. It's just him lunging. And then I think
it's so quick. And I did watch that. I did watch that in the original. It's real fast. And then I went and did that scene again. And it's like, you're seeing more of him. You're seeing him sit down eating and everything.
He's chomping on the thing. There's more of that. And I think that was a really cool edit. Because I always felt, even as a kid, seeing this at the movies, I always felt that, I want to see this creature. I want to see what this thing actually looks like. So he finally gives you that. And I'm like, bravo. That was a good edit. It wasn't, Greedo shooting first, bad. It was actually a good edit, a good thing to do. The one thing I didn't like in this new edit was the Emperor talking to Vader. He expanded the Emperor's speech when he's talking
Okay.
to Vader, and I don't think it was necessary. I think the shorter version in the original cut works better
Hmm.
because you wonder if the Emperor found out about Luke after Vader, because he's telling Vader, "This is your son," kind of
Yeah.
thing, and I always felt like Vader found out that it was his son before the Emperor.
I
And
got
then
that
the way
impression
this,
last night.
yeah, the way this talked, it seemed like the Emperor found out before Vader. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't think, I never read it that way. So for that, it was a bad edit for me. Other than that,
I want to talk about that a second because
okay.
now we watched this in order.
Yeah,
And I am so thankful we have
right.
because I am seeing stuff that I would have never seen before
Mhm.
in these characters. And I have to applaud everybody who had a hand in even doing these prequels as much
Mhm.
as we bitch about some of the
Right.
aspects of them. The fact that they were able to take a future story and work backwards to make it
Mhm.
connect. So when you're watching, you're looking like, how did they make those dots hit?
Right.
And they don't
Right.
always hit, but most of the
No.
time they do. There's a few points it's like, this is kind of weird. And that's one of them that we're talking
Mhm.
about because Anakin is told by the Emperor that he killed Padme. So of
Yeah.
course there's no kids. But in that conversation, Palpatine is just very nonchalant about it. It's like, do you guys not remember this conversation you
Yeah.
had?
Did you remember what you wrote? Though
Yeah.
that was,
Yeah. It was that
it's
one, that
something. Yeah,
particular
something
scene
got
stuck
screwed
out to
up.
me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for me, that something got screwed up there. Um, and I'm trying to think if there was anything else. There was nothing else that really made me go, you could have left that out
Yeah.
for the extra edit. He didn't seem to keep sticking his fingers in this one, and Jedi has even less added to it.
Oh, very good.
So if I remember correctly, he did even less to Jedi, except for
Except for the
Darth
ending with
Vader's
the,
helmet.
yeah. Yeah.
You know, other than that, I think he pretty much left Jedi alone. For the most part.
Well, and the Force Ghost of Anakin.
God, yeah, I forgot about that. I
Yeah.
honestly forgot. See, I thought it was a good touch to show Anakin as the older man standing next to Obi-Wan
Yeah.
and Yoda. You get that. I mean, I didn't he even put Ewan McGregor in there?
I
Didn't he
don't,
even
I
have
know
Ewan
Hayden
McGregor in it
Christensen's in there,
one?
but I'd like to think not.
I
I'd,
think he did. I want to say that I saw that. Maybe it was somebody joking around and figured out how to
may
do it
have.
on a computer.
If you look closely in the bushes, you'll see the ghost of Qui-Gon Jinn too. Yeah. But
If you look really close, you'll see all the kids that Anakin slaughtered.
yeah,
He's
all
got a
these
lot
little
to
baby
answer
Force
for.
ghosts. Yeah. He's got a lot to answer for. It's hard to come back from that one. We've talked about Annie quite a bit.
Yeah, I'd
He
have
had a
chopped his
bad
head
day.
off. Yeah, he would.
Yeah.
Yeah, but do you have any notes? I have a couple of
I
bullet
do. I
points.
do have notes. I have a
Let's
few.
go
And
over yours.
let
Let's
me
go over
hit
yours.
those. Okay. All right. So my notes are kind of funny because I write in modern terms about Vader being on a Zoom call. But you see the Star Destroyers, and there's a battle going
Right.
on, and one of them blows up, and you see Vader on the Zoom call, and a general
Yeah.
just kind of fades away, and
Yeah.
I'm laughing. It's like, there his ship is gone.
Oh,
He's gone. Oh,
yeah.
he's gone.
That's awesome.
I only have two.
That's a great scene. I forgot about that.
I
That's
died.
funny.
It's like
Because you
that.
see
I
the
don't
guy
think.
go like this too,
Yeah,
like,
it's
gosh, shit. Oh,
and by this
God.
point, Vader's already killing his generals. Disappoint me.
So that guy's
it's
like,
fuck.
oh, thank God.
Yeah. And then that one said, "I'm going to go apologize to Lord Vader," and then later you see him dead on the floor. Apology accepted.
I like how whenever he's walking away, the one guy looks at him and almost like, yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah.
I'm going to go apologize to Lord Vader in person. Good luck.
My other note is Yoda. He's acting like he's on crack, and the swamp must have really fucked with him for the past 20
Yeah.
years of being in seclusion. Because this fucker cray.
It's crazy.
Damn. And it's so funny. It's so funny. But this was one time when I could not unhear Miss Piggy. So Frank Oz, all I could see was Miss Piggy in the swamp.
See, and I don't get Miss Piggy. I get Grover.
Oh, shit.
That's who I hear is Grover. I don't even know. Is he still a character on Sesame Street? I imagine
I don't
he's
know.
still.
I don't know. I'm sure.
Uh,
I'm sure Grover is.
I liked how they did Yoda. He's crazy, like you said. He's like a
Yeah.
freaking meth head. You
I
know, when they
know.
first meet him, he's like, I'm all over the place. You notice he's C-3PO or R2-D2. I'm sorry, R2-D2 should have had a bigger reaction to him,
Yeah.
knowing everything that we know from the prequels. I mean, maybe he could have fixed that with sounds. I don't know, but that kind of bothered me that R2-D2 didn't react bigger to him than he
Hmm.
did.
Yeah.
But other than that, if you realize, well, if you noticed, after they get to Yoda's house and Ben starts talking, Yoda becomes Yoda.
Yeah.
Because all that was a test.
I think
I
so.
realized,
Yeah. And it was just
I'm
crazy.
sure
Yeah.
I thought about it before, but it was like shit that he's testing him. He
Yeah.
wants to see how much shit he'll put up with.
He's testing his patience, and that was
Yeah,
one of the things that he said.
yeah, exactly.
And we'll talk about Luke on Dagobah. This goes again to show
Mhm.
the problem with the Jedi Order, and I mentioned this in the first trilogy with young Anakin and how reluctant they were to train or even
Right,
touch anything, and just all they
right,
want to do is speak in riddles. And I get that Yoda's scared to death because he knows this is Anakin's son, and he
hmm
knows what happened to Anakin. But
right.
Yoda's refusal to train Anakin or to trust Anakin
hmm
is he's doing the same shit to Luke, and it's like, dude, you're doing the same fucking thing again.
Right.
Here you are. No wonder the dark side's so enticing. They have cookies
Yeah,
and
chocolate chip cookies.
chocolate chip cookies. Actually,
But
cookies
it's
good
kind of
enough for a
working.
Sith.
Yeah.
So it's
Why do I find that so
I
funny?
don't know.
That's good.
Yeah,
But there is one thing whenever
I get
Luke,
mine from the Young Empire Scouts.
the young Empire Scouts,
Yeah,
all hail Lord Vader and
yeah.
chocolate chip cookies.
Some Sith mints and sorry. The Girl Scouts are missing a marketing opportunity. Contact me. I'll share my ideas.
Oh, your breath can be minty fresh like Lord Vader's. See, everybody thinks he has bad breath. It's actually mint.
Mint. It's mint. Smells of mint and
I forgot what the
clover.
hell I was going to say now.
I
got a
don't
point
know.
to make. When Luke is getting ready to leave, or he has his first vision of his friends being tortured,
Yeah.
and he asks Yoda, hey, are they going to die? You see Yoda kind of look into the future, and he says, hard to tell, always in motion is the future. That, to me, is telling me the reason Yoda didn't step in the prequels is because he kept getting different visions of the future. He kept seeing, I'm guessing at this is just me conjecturing, that perhaps he was seeing Anakin be the great savior,
Right.
and then Anakin being the evil guy, then Anakin maybe quitting and not being anything and just leaving and really screwing the universe up, but never being involved. Maybe he saw Luke being the Dark Lord later on in life, and maybe he was just seeing all these different futures, so he didn't know which path to nudge toward because there were so many different ones. So when he tells Luke, hard to say, always in motion
Yeah.
is the future, that kind of clicked on me last night really hard for the first time. Like, oh shit, he didn't know what was going to happen. He saw like multiple versions of it maybe. But that's a guess. That's just me being the nerd that I am and conjecturing along.
Now help me out here because I had a major brain fart last night and I'm still racking my brain trying to figure it out.
All right.
At what point and in what movie do we find out Luke's name is Skywalker?
It's the first one. Star Wars.
Okay. The only reason I'm saying
Shmi
something.
Skywalker. It's Shmi's last name was Skywalker.
Yeah, but Luke.
Anakin's name was Skywalker.
I understand that.
I don't know why they kept it Skywalker. Why did Obi-Wan not call himself anything but Ben Kenobi on Tatooine?
Here's old
You're
Ben.
hiding.
Old Ben
My name's
Kenobi.
Ben. I'm a fucking Jedi.
I'm Ben, not Obi-Wan. The reason I say this
Yeah.
is because Vader is like, he's after Skywalker. He knows who Luke
Right.
Skywalker is. But
Right.
when? How? Am I missing something here? Am I being
Are you asking when did Vader find out who Skywalker
pretty
was?
much, because
Probably
we knew
right after
we
he
knew it was
found out.
Skywalker.
Right. I'm guessing after he blew up the Death Star, he wanted to know who that fucking little prick was that
Yeah.
had the power.
It bothered
And
me
you're
because
not
it's like,
gonna
how
keep
would he
that a
know?
secret. You're not going to
Yeah.
keep it a secret at that
He
point.
probably heard that. Yeah.
You're the guy who blew up you fucking Luke Skywalker.
So
he was
hearing
looking
that-
for Luke, Han, and Leia.
Yeah.
Those
So
are the three motherfuckers he was looking for. I want those sons of bitches.
Well, yeah, absolutely. And okay, that helps me. But fuck,
How did
I don't know where.
I'm thinking that's how he put two and two together, like Skywalker. Fuck, I was a Skywalker.
Okay. Well, yeah. Now think about that. Then he's got to know. He already knows he's after his son. He doesn't know about Leia. I don't think at this point.
Books, no, he doesn't know about Leia. And there's one scene that's always bothered me, and especially bothered me after they came out with the trilogy. But again, this is a small thing. It would have never affected me had the trilogy never been made. Okay, so I want you to know that. When Luke takes off of Dagobah, Ben's spirit ghost says he's our last hope. He fades away, and Yoda's looking up, saying, "No, there is another." So Ben didn't know about Leia either. So that should have been fixed in the third movie. It should have been Yoda that took, like Ben should have never been there for the twins' birth. He should have only saw Luke.
Yeah.
And then by that time, Organa should have already walked out of the room with Leia as Obi-Wan's coming in the other, He's walking out one door, he's walking in the other.
They did mess that up.
So he never sees it. So that way, Ben would have never known.
Yeah.
He would have never known about Leia. Because that line works only if Ben doesn't know who Leia is.
Exactly. So it's like, what are that's the only person they could be referring to is Leia.
Right.
So, because when this was written, that's probably all he had in mind. And that's, But
again, I think that's where he kind of writes himself into a corner. He made a mistake without, I'm sure, even thinking about it. And I think if his wife would have still been there when the prequels were being made, she probably would have caught that and said, "No, you got to fix that. That's not a good scene." And
even with all of that being said, just the fact that this still works with stuff that was made after. These three movies stand alone just as well on their own, if not better, I think.
Yeah.
But seeing it all come together, I'm seeing the patterns of the Jedi. I'm seeing how they act. And what I really saw and helps me a lot with Luke Skywalker, a lot of people bitch about Luke saying he's whiny and all of this.
Go to Tashi Station, give me some power converters.
Here's the thing. Luke is definitely the son of Anakin Skywalker.
Oh, yeah.
He's acting like him. He's impulsive like him. He's impatient like him. He's whiny like him. And it's like to see that Hayden Christensen grabbed all of that and played that as a younger version of himself. I'm actually more impressed now. And it's like, okay, I see. But I never, watching these, we didn't know that that's how Anakin was.
Right. And Leia is very much like Amidala and Padme. She's she's always thinking about the political maneuvering and how to get a job done with the least casualties and the least amount of guff.
Very much like that.
I want as many people involved in this as I can, but if I can't, well, go it alone.
Exactly.
So she's very much like that character of her mother. And I thought that was a pretty good, you pointing that out helped me make that connection. I would have never thought about that.
Yeah, I didn't even catch that last night, but she is, other than the fact that it looks like Carrie Fisher and Natalie Portman are both incredibly tiny, or were incredibly tiny people.
Yes, they are. They're very petite.
Yes. So that was actually kind of cool to see. It's like, I'm looking at this different. It is a little weird, and this can't be helped. The time frame between all of these movies. And for its time, these effects are damn good.
I
I
prefer these effects over most of the new crap now.
Yeah, and
I
that's one
really
of the
do, because
things
they
that I
look
note
more real.
when I put in the VHS. I'm seeing at the very beginning with the Tauntauns, there is a
Mhm.
shit ton of stop motion animation being used.
Oh yeah,
And it's like, oh
yeah,
my God, I'm having a Harryhausen moment. This is really cool.
right, right.
So that was really neat to see, and the puppetry. And, we know that a lot of that is the reason that we barely saw the Abominable Snowman, basically,
Mhm.
was because of just the logistics of it. So you had a quick
Right.
flash and stuff like that. And given the time, I agree with you. That was a great edit to add more
Yeah,
of
it
that in
was.
because it doesn't take
It,
away from it.
what's funny is I know that George Lucas had a problem with Yoda. He didn't think Yoda was working, like in the swamp. He didn't know
Hmm.
what to do, but he did. He was like, maybe I should just get a guy and dress him up. I don't think this is working. And everybody was looking at him and going, no, no, it's good, it's good. And he's like, no, I don't know, I don't think so. And I'm gonna say it was probably Marcia, right, his wife.
I can't remember. I think that is
Probably
right.
looked at him and went, nah, leave it, it's working. I think she used to talk him off the ledge a lot.
Yeah.
And I think other people, probably I'm going to say Kasdan probably looked at him and went, no, George, it's working fine. Don't worry about it. Like, it's good. Just let it go. And then they had the director. I wrote down the director's name because for the life of me, I
I
could not
forgot it,
remember.
but I did see that last night.
I'll find it in here someplace.
But you mentioned while you're looking
Irvin
that up.
Kershner was the
Okay,
director. Irvin Kershner probably looked at him and said, could you get off my set, please?
yeah.
Because that's the kind of relationship those two had. But
Wow.
it worked. I mean, you look at it and you're like, thank God he still had pushback at that point in his life. Because that could have ruined that entire movie had he put a person in a costume.
Oh, it'd have been horrible.
Yeah.
You know, this is very interesting that things repeat themselves when you look
Mhm.
at behind the scenes of the Mandalorian when
Yeah.
they brought Baby Yoda, Grogu,
Right, right.
on. They originally were talking about doing CGI, and Werner Herzog's like, no, you use the puppet.
Yeah. You need the baby. Use the child.
Yeah,
Everyone
and
have something to act against. Thank you, Werner. You just scared the shit out of me. Do what Werner says. Do it.
I mean, he's a world class famous filmmaker for a reason. He knows
Yeah.
his shit,
Yeah. There's a
and
reason he is who he is.
yeah, so that was and you see how well Baby Yoda works. So
Oh,
this
yeah.
Yoda had to be, if that had been somebody in a suit, and that's
Can't
one of the
imagine.
things I noticed was the puppetry was top notch of Yoda. It's like
Phenomenal.
every fucking time.
Just the faces because
Yes.
all he has is a hand up in the puppet head. And
Yep.
the way he moves his hand and he looks around, all of it is right there. Like when Yoda's depressed, you see him look down and the eyes get kind of sad. And it's like, holy crap,
Yeah, it's amazing.
that's acting. I don't know
It
how
is.
they pulled that off, but that's acting. And
It
that,
is.
you cannot beat the puppeteers. Did you
No,
ever see the little old guy who created Yoda?
no,
The guy who shaped the face and molded him and
no,
did all,
no.
looks just like Yoda.
I wondered, was it an old Japanese guy?
No, he looks like a little white old Jewish guy, and
He looks
he
like Yoda.
he looks like Yoda, but his ear, of course, the man's ears aren't that big, but they talked to him one time in an interview, and he's like, yeah, whenever I was doing the Yoda, I did this, I did that, and then somebody had looked at him and went, this looks a lot like you, and he didn't see it when he was doing it.
Oh wow.
As artists, like I know when I'm drawing, I have to look in a mirror and I'm looking at because I'm making a face and I'm, using the
Yeah.
expression. And he said that's all he had to go by because there was no Yoda.
Yeah.
There was nothing created yet. So he had to create it. So he goes, that was the only face I had. So
Wow, that's really cool.
he never saw it while he was working on it. But when people were done, they're like,
Then why would you make
looking at the
yourself?
Yoda, looking at him, it's like, that's you. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, and I always applaud anybody when they do the puppets to include their feet,
Yeah.
and I think it's necessary. It helps sell it. It helps sell the illusion
Mhm.
when you can see their feet.
Yeah.
And the Henson's company has always been top notch with that. So it's
Incredible.
yeah,
Kermit on the
incredible.
bicycle.
Yes, Yes,
I
and I was
mean,
just thinking of stuff from Christmas Muppets Christmas Carol. I was like,
yeah, it's incredible.
yeah, when I was in an antique store a couple weeks ago, I saw some little stuffed mice, and I was like, "Oh my God, it's the bookkeeping mice!" And it wasn't, but that's where my brain
Light the
goes.
lamp, not the rat. Light the lamp, not the rat.
Yeah, Rizzo.
Yeah. Um, yeah, that's just terrific stuff that he did. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, very much so. How about your notes?
Oh, I was just gonna say I'll go down real quick. Music cues, the music and the cues. John
Yeah.
Williams, you can't beat him for this movie. Just the perfect. The music going through the asteroid belt. I love that's probably one of my I don't know why, but it's always been one of my favorite pieces of music.
Mhm.
You know, just and I thought of something last night. I don't think I wrote it down, but there is a scene towards the end of the movie, almost at the end, where the Millennium Falcon is like right next to Darth Vader's Star Destroyer, the Executor or
Uh-huh.
Executor, and it's like right there, and it's tiny, so tiny, and it's flying along the side, and it's like one of the most daring pieces of fucking flight in this universe. Like
Yeah.
nobody wants to be that close to a Star Destroyer. Definitely don't want to be that close to the Darth Vader's flagship. Anywhere near that
Are
near
you
him.
referring to where when he actually docks on the ship?
Yeah,
Yeah.
when he's flying, yeah, he and Darth Vader's going to his ship, but the Millennium Falcon is right next to it, flying, trying to
Right.
escape him. But it's like you could spit and you'd hit you'd hit a ship. And I'm like, this is the most daring fucking flight, probably the most dangerous flight that anybody's doing. It's got to be tricky because everybody's shooting at you and they're all missing. And who's flying? Princess
Leia.
Leia. Nobody ever gives that woman enough goddamn credit
Let me
about her driving skills.
let me
She
let me
was top freaking notch.
yeah,
She's just flying.
let me say something about that. That was the first time I realized because I see Han and I see Chewie and I'm
Uh,
like, who's flying this ship? Who the fuck
right.
they're under attack? And then they show and it's Leia and it's like,
Yeah.
how did I never see
Yeah.
that?
Like I knew subconsciously who was flying, but last night I was looking at that and I'm like, she never gets credit.
I
She never
honestly thought
gets
L3
credit.
was had control at the point at that point, but
she never gets credit for saving everybody's ass from Darth Vader.
she is a badass pilot.
Yeah, she was damn good. So I don't think they played that up enough for her. I think they should have
I
played that up a
agree.
lot more for Carrie Fisher's character. That
Yeah.
would have been good. And I did first time it really just slapped me in the face was last night when I'm like, she's the only one in the cockpit.
Yeah. It's not 3PO.
No, 3PO can't fly for shit. The additional footage of the Wampa was cool. Um, when Luke, this is a bit of trivia, when Luke is getting out of the Wampa cave and he's traveling through all that snow and it's the blizzard and you're like, how the fuck? Where did they film this? They filmed that out the back door of the hotel they were at in Switzerland
Ah,
during a blizzard. They were all snowed in and everybody's like, well, we're not going to film today. And
yes, we are.
Either Kirshner standing by the back door. He's like, we got this scene that we got to shoot anyway. They didn't block anything out because they didn't have to because of the snow. So
Yeah.
you couldn't see any of the cityscape behind them.
Damn.
They just went out there and filmed. He's like, everybody get your uniforms on. Let's go. And they literally, you see the camera is outside the door of the hotel, like maybe 10 feet at most. And they're filming right
Oh, that's amazing.
maybe 100 feet away. That's when Luke's coming over the big snowdrift. That's a real freaking snowdrift. He's in a blizzard. It's amazing. That's a guy who was just like, yeah, let's go. Get your cameras. Let's go. They got it. They got the shot. It worked perfectly. The reference to Rogue 2 when they're flying.
Yeah, I caught that. It's like Rogue 2. Interesting.
Rogue 2. Rogue 2. We got him. The attack from the Wampa, the big snow beast,
Uh-huh.
when he hits Luke's face and he rips his face off, that scene was added. Do you know why that scene was added?
No.
I was going to say Luke Skywalker, but Mark Hamill was in a car accident. Right before they were just getting ready to start filming, and they were just getting ready to sign papers with Mark Hamill.
So they did that to make.
His face was so badly damaged they thought he was going to die at one point, but his face was like partially ripped off.
Holy crap!
The car accident was so bad. The car accident that he was in. So they were like, "Fuck! How are we going to explain why he looks so different from the first episode?" And that's how they did it. The Wampa comes in and wipes his face off.
Isn't that great?
And it worked. I was like,
yeah,
good way of doing it. Works perfectly.
Sweet.
What else have I got here? I just over the years, so many years, folks, I've learned so much useless information about these movies. I love them, and I know I will share them with you. John Ratzenberger. Did you spot John Ratzenberger? This is one of the people that I was saying that I noticed people, and I've noticed Ratzenberger for years.
Where was he?
He was the Rebel deck officer, one of the officers, and he was Major Drillin. He was the one who tells everybody, "All right, get to your ships, let's go." Next time you watch it, you almost hear his real voice in there. Most of the time he's talking like this. I think he's actually the guy who comes up and tells Princess Leia they got to shut the big doors too. But I didn't get a good look at him last night. But he's changed his voice whenever he's talking to Princess Leia. And then whenever she's like, "All right, we got to do 2 ships at a time," and the kid's like, "How are we going to do that?" And the one guy says, "Get to your ships, let's go." That's him. That's John Ratzenberger. And Ratzenberger, for the younger generation, was on a television series called Cheers. He was a know-it-all mailman.
He was great.
Cliff Clavin.
Cliff, that was it. That was his name.
Yeah, Cliff Clavin. So that was always a good one for me. The ion cannon. I like the ion cannon addition in this movie. Just taking out a destroyer like that.
Yeah.
And it doesn't kill anybody. It just wipes out all their electrical. There's nothing. They can't do shit. And I think to myself, why don't the rebels have those on their ships? Yeah. Are they just do they need to drain too much power?
It might be.
Because that thing looks like it's like hooked into the planet. Like, 2 or 3 shots and whatever's in its way is going down. Let's see here. The walkers. We talked about the walkers. The Imperial.
Yeah, those are so cool.
Those are cool. That the stop motion in that, and the fact that they studied the elephant walk to get the.
Is that how they did it?
Yeah, the walker motion down. And, they couldn't find it. Like George Lucas kept telling, but I want guys who know stop motion. They had to go to television commercials because those were the only people doing anything like that. Like the Puff guy, the guy who gets his little belly poked all the time.
Stay Puft, yeah.
Stay Puft, yeah.
Not Stay Puft. I mean, that's not Ghostbusters. The Pillsbury. Yeah, Stay Puft. I love him.
The Pillsbury doughboy who gets poked.
Yeah, I was just thinking of something so sweet and innocent, but I'm sorry.
And all of a sudden, I had to kill it.
Damn it, Ray.
Next time someone asks you if you're a god, say yes. Sorry, that's another movie. But they had to go hire a bunch of like commercial guys because nobody really had the talent to do it. So they went in, got all these to come in and start doing stop motion. It was basically a dying art form at that point. What else have I got here? General Veers. Did you get a good look at his face?
Which one was Veers?
General Veers. Whenever Vader turns around and almost punches the guy in the face with his own mask. He turns around and says, ready your troops for ground assault. Or General Veers.
Right, okay.
And he's like, Vader's like right in his face. He's like, "Oh, Jesus. Didn't know I was that close to you. Sorry, General." And then walked off. Well, Vader didn't. No. Didn't do that. But I think that's the guy who tells Indiana Jones in The Last Crusade, "Don't trust anybody." Or "Trust no one, Dr. Jones." Huh? I think that's the same guy, and I can't think of the actor's name. I didn't write it down last night. But I want to look that up and see if that's the same guy, because it's interesting. Because all these years I've been looking at him going, man, that guy looks really familiar. Where have I seen him before? And I think it must have been at least 10 or 15 years in between those movies, at least, easy. So that might be him. If anybody knows, please let me know, because I
Yeah.
want to find out whether General Veers was the bad guy in The Last Crusade, or maybe he just looks like him. Oh,
Well, that's the thing about these movies. And since George Lucas went on to make so many hits and
right,
blockbusters with Spielberg and everything, you're going to see a lot of these people transcend into these other
right.
universes and stuff. So, which is really, really cool that, and it's over such a long period of time. I mean, for Christ's sake, we got a new Indiana Jones coming out soon.
No, you
And
don't.
it's like, you don't think it's coming?
They've blocked it again.
Are you serious? Okay.
The
I haven't
last
paid
I
any
heard it
attention.
was going to be 2023 or later.
I thought it already wrapped, but
It did. And then they blocked it. And they said, we're not releasing this.
must be bad.
Somebody got in there and said, we ain't releasing this.
Okay. But I mean, they released the Crystal Skull. Can't be that bad,
You know what? You're talking to the one guy in America that actually didn't mind the Crystal Skull.
dude. No, there's two. There's two old ass movie reviews. Actually, the only problem I have with that movie, and we're going to have to review the Indiana Jones
I will
trilogy
be there for that. I will. I'd love it.
or quadrilogy, is the fucking
fourth-
CGI ants and a refrigerator. But that was fun. That was fun.
Get away from that. The refrigerator was so horrible, but it was
But it was
such
fun.
a Jones move. You're like, okay, Indiana Jones could do that. You know?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
you have to look at who's in the refrigerator when he rolls out. You're like,
Right.
yeah, okay, that I'll give you that.
And
If it was Son, if it was anybody else, you'd be like, no, you would have
Yeah.
died.
And I did like the alien and interdimensional concept.
Yeah,
I thought that was actually
kinda cool.
really fucking cool. But anyway, another movie, another time, another podcast.
Sorry,
Sorry,
this is what we do.
we were still dealing with Harrison Ford.
Sidetracked for every other movie. The Swiss Army, I think it's the Swiss Army, was actually all the rebel soldiers
Really?
in the pit. Yeah, that was
That's actually really cool.
It was either their military or one of their one of their divisions of a military.
That's
kind of.
really cool.
And I wrote down when Yoda shows up, that's Luke's first test. That's
That's a good point. That's a good point. It's one that helps me with that. Yeah, it's. Let's talk about the awkward kiss.
Oh, with Leia and
Yeah,
Luke?
we only know it's awkward because we know who they really are.
When I was a kid, first time I saw it, I had no idea.
No idea. It's only awkward if you have seen the whole trilogy or seen the prequels.
If you know already, yeah.
Yeah.
That's when it gets awkward, because I know at the end of the movie I'm like, ew, because she kisses him again.
Yeah.
He winds up kissing him again whenever they're on the ship and he has his hand cut off, and
Right.
she's like, "I'll be right back," and she kisses him, and it's like, oh no, don't stop kissing your brother. Unless you're role playing, don't call him
Unless
brother.
you're in Alabama, but it's
Okay, let me get the conversation between Vader and the Emperor I talked about. Is that Scott Bakula on the bridge of the Star Destroyer?
oh my God, you're gonna make
Whenever
me go look.
he's asking General Piet something.
He would be very young.
Yeah, he doesn't look very old in this one.
Yeah, he would be very young then.
This would have been right.
I'd say he's our age.
Yeah, this would have been around 83, 84.
But he may be a little older than us then. Yeah.
Maybe a little bit
Yeah.
older. But it would have been about the right age for that. But there's a guy, like a younger
It could have been.
soldier who's on the bridge, and he turns around, and every time I see him, I'm like, fuck, that looks like the guy from Quantum Leap. It looks like Scott Bakula. I want to ask about, because I didn't see his name in the credits, but I didn't see any name for,
No, there's a lot of people. That's just it with these movies. There's so many people in it that a lot of them are uncredited. And now they've gone on to be bigger stars.
Now, this is something that I think both of us, and any true, and I do mean true Star Wars fan, from the first day Star Wars came out, Empire, Jedi, the trilogy, the real trilogy came out, I prefer Yoda's explanation of the Force.
Amen. I took note of that last night. He's like,
Right?
there it is. Wait, he didn't mention, what was it? He didn't mention midichlorians or
He didn't
whatever.
mention one fucking metachlorian. It's like, well, Luke, metachlorians you have. It's like, what the hell is a metachlorian?
Yoda's explanation made it where anybody can use the Force.
Yeah.
They just have to know how to reach it or to
exactly. Well, he even says when you get it in your mind, you focus it. It's like, okay, anybody can do it, maybe greater and lesser extent, but anybody can be a Jedi. But I love that.
We will talk about Ruin Johnson soon.
Oh yeah, Ruin Johnson just ruin it even more.
Yeah, because that's what I felt that he was trying to do, was to show that anybody could be a Jedi, but while shitting all over everything else. And that's a whole nother story.
Oh Lord, he did shit all over everything.
Felt that way.
The Yoda Muppet was incredible.
Yes.
We talked about that a little bit. And let's talk about that for a minute. Because you said you thought in episode 1 that Yoda was an actual Muppet.
I thought until you said I was wrong. So I was like, yeah.
But I looked at that again the other day. I just was looking at it and I was like, shit, that really does look like a Muppet. But it is CGI.
Wow.
They did CGI him. So I'm dumbfounded. Like, wow, how did they make that look so much like the Muppet? But it had a horrible design. But then they had this great design, and they almost made him look like a Muppet. And the other, the other ones, and they did a really good. I think they did a really good job on the Yoda in the second and third episodes of that.
Oh so, yeah, absolutely.
I still think you're right. I think they should have just had the Muppet, doing the talk. But that's me.
Yeah.
That's just how I. Where was I? Lobot. I've mentioned Lobot before, and in what movie did we mention Lobot showing up in?
Captain Kronos, Vampire.
Captain Kronos, thank you.
The bartender, yes, I love. Hey, for those of you listening, go check out our Captain Kronos. I think is it a Spider Baby Captain Kronos double feature that we did?
You know what? It might be.
I think those two are like episode 6, like our 6th episode.
Early on.
And just for one of the greatest insults to a humpback person ever.
Oh, Jesus. They were so horrible to that guy.
What, you dig a hole and put your hump in it?
But they paid the ultimate price, man, because Captain Kronos don't play that. You don't play with my hump to hump. Humped it.
Oh, great. Now, thanks for putting Digital Underground in my head.
You're welcome.
Do the hump. Do the hump.
Okay, enough of that. Right now, anybody who's under 50 is looking at us going, who the hell? What just happened? Sorry.
All right. We like our 90s hip hop here on old ass movie reviews. I'm just saying.
and I made the note earlier about Yoda should have been the only one who knew about the twins. Because that whole conversation.
That was weird. That was weird.
Didn't have is like, and I understand they didn't know about it then, like because this movie was made 30 years ahead of time. But
it's a big
miss. You think they would have overdubbed that? They would have just went and got what's his name, and dubbed something else. I don't know. Irvin Kershner was the one who directed, and the name I was trying to remember the name of the woman that helped Lawrence Kasdan write Empire Strikes Back. Her name is Leah Brackett. She's since passed away. She passed away a long, long time ago. But she is worth a look through IMDb. She did a lot of stuff in the old days.
Oh, wow.
And I think without her helping Kasdan, whereas Kasdan got the action and he got a lot of the emotion and the character development, she's the one who put in the romance between Solo and Leia and Luke and, caused that little weird thing that everybody looks at now and goes, oh, that's weird. But she's like, nobody knows. So it's okay. It's going to be weird later on, but right now we're fine.
It's perfect, though. It just shows you how fucked up it is, when when
It
people
worked
don't know, and how they were hidden.
And I think with the original trilogy or the prequels 1, 2, and 3, I think that kind of writing was missing. He should have gone to Kasdan. He should have found people like Leia Brackett that were still around that knew how to write romance. Because I think the romance in the first 3 episodes was horrible. There was no romance. It was just creepy weird. It was
Yeah,
forced. It was way too forced.
I
And
hate
those actors
sand.
were too good. Those actors were too good to be given such a crappy script. Sorry, Luke. Your parents had no chemistry.
No, and your daddy hates sand.
Yeah, your dad hates sand, and your mama loved to be wet in the water. It's horrible.
Anyway, one of the things that I was going to mention, I found
Planet,
very interesting that I
the
hadn't
water
caught.
planet.
One of the things I hadn't caught before, hadn't paid much attention to it,
Mhm.
was Vader when he and Luke are fighting,
Uh-huh.
and it's like Vader just like this has been on his mind for a long time for him to make a comment right away to his son he just met,
Mhm.
thought was dead.
Right.
Join me. Well, you can kill the emperor.
Yeah.
We can take over. It's like, oh, damn, you seditious bastard.
Yeah, we can stop this. Yeah, well, he was planning with Tarkin. Tarkin dying kind of threw his plans into a little spin.
Yeah.
Like, fuck, Tarkin, you should have left the damn ship. But it's funny in the books they talk about Vader and how he thought about the Death Star. He thought it was a waste of time and money. They could
Really?
have built a bigger fleet and caused even more havoc and more terror because
Oh,
you would have had
absolutely.
fleets. He wanted to build bigger, like his executor ship, like the
Yeah.
big master ships like that. He wanted to build a fleet of those. So they had all these master fleets all over the place that had like other Star Destroyers with them. And I'm just like, should have listened to Vader, man. You should have listened to Vader. Harder to kill 1,000 mosquitoes than it is to kill one big one.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And, and I still go back to this. He is, in a weird way, he is the one who's going to bring peace.
Yeah, he kind of did. He kind of did. Jeremy Bullock. I just want to talk about him real quick.
Oh,
Jeremy Bullock was the original Boba Fett.
Right.
And now I because I watched the edition, the special edition one last night. I wanted to see what they had changed and what they didn't.
Right.
But they changed Tamara's voice. They took out Jeremy Bullock's original and overdubbed it with Tamara's voice.
Hold there for a second.
Okay.
I too watched the special edition, and I paused for a second at this. Like, that sounds like Tamara.
Yeah.
So it was. It's like, how? Wait, Jeremy Bullock. Why did they do that to Jeremy Bullock? Nobody cares.
There was no reason to do it. Now I understand why, like in the long run.
Yeah.
But I don't think I would have taken that away from Jeremy Bullock.
No.
Because he was the original Boba Fett. He was.
Yeah. It's not like it changes anything.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. He played Boba Fett freaking great. And the original one, I like the voice of that Boba Fett better.
Yeah.
Did you catch the scene that I was talking about though?
Yes, where Vader stops him from shooting.
Yeah, that to me, he doesn't want to shoot C-3PO. He doesn't give a shit about because he doesn't know about Leia yet.
Right.
He doesn't really care about Han because Han's getting carbonated.
Yeah. So he's not going to give two fucks about the Wookiee.
He doesn't give two shits about the Wookiee for sure. Maybe the two humans you want to keep alive. But
I thought that was interesting. Yeah, I did see that when it's there's what David was talking about.
Yeah, I thought that was very interesting. What else was there? There was one other little thing about the. Did you see the killer droid in the background?
The killer droid.
The battle droid that we were talking about.
Yes. I know which one you're talking. The HK.
He's just standing in the background of the bridge, and I'm like,
yes.
That's the android. Why aren't you showing this thing? You're supposed to be this killer machine.
I did see that when they were showing all the bounty hunters. Is that when you? Yeah, yeah. That was.
And no disintegrations. I love that line.
Yeah, that.
As you wish.
What is that in
Whatever.
reference to?
I think it's because he walks up to Boba Fett and he says, because he's telling everybody, I want these guys and I want them
Right,
alive. And he's sending all these bounty hunters out to get Han and Luke and Leia and the Wookiee and
right.
bring him back to me alive. And then he walks up to Boba Fett and says, no disintegrations. I think that is in reference to killing Jar Jar Binks.
I hope you're right.
I want to see it. I want to see that that's the order that Boba Fett did not follow properly. Like, just have Jar Jar going on and on and on and on, and Boba Fett just turn around and shoot him.
Yeah,
Just
and walk off.
disintegrate him and walk off like no reward's worth that.
No.
No reward is worth this.
Weasel Boba Fett!
How fucking great would that be? I mean, every adult fan that grew up with these movies would be like, yes, finally,
He'll never do it. He'll never do
it. Back.
it. You're going to have to animate it.
Oh my God, how great would that be?
Yeah.
If Favreau just sneaks it in somehow, keeps it a secret again, like the Return of Luke Skywalker.
Yeah. 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 That
Like,
would be awesome.
If he could just keep that secret and have that just show up, everybody in Disney would have a fucking heart attack.
Yeah.
Everybody.
What's
That'd
really
be so-
cool though is watching this now and after watching the Book of Boba Fett and knowing Boba Fett's knowing what's to come from Boba Fett. So it's kind of the character a little bit more. So it's not just who's this guy? Who's this with the cool armor? So you see that.
Right.
Yeah. But I'm looking forward to Jedi next.
Jedi. I like Jedi.
Yeah.
And it's not just a bunch of Muppets.
No, it's Leia in her outfit.
Hardly notice.
Nope, never noticed. So final thoughts on Empire, Dave.
I don't know.
Yeah, her Jedi outfit.
Oh, I didn't go out and buy 15 action figures of Leia in her outfit. I did not do that.
It did not happen.
That's just weird.
That guy over there is a liar.
And I didn't snatch one out of a little kid's hand and steal it. No, I love this movie. This is a really good movie. Episodes 4, 5, and 6, which are the original trilogy, Star Wars, Empire, Jedi, are my absolute favorite Star Wars movies. Almost in that order, I would say.
Yeah.
Because Star Wars, to me, being the original, the thing that brings it all to life, works for me. The fact that Empire and Jedi built and did what a good sequel should do, which is build on a character and bring them up steps higher and higher and higher. Luke wasn't still a little farm boy just going through the motions.
No.
He was becoming a Jedi. And in the next one, he's actually a Jedi Knight.
Yep.
So it works on so many different levels for me. Is if you're going to write a sequel, make it a sequel. Make the characters grow.
Yeah.
Don't keep them in their little hovel.
I agree. This is a good one. It just, to me, it changes. It's still part of the universe. But as I was saying at the beginning, everybody has grown as their characters. They've got a better feeling for who they are. But the stakes are higher in this movie. Everything is just ramped up even more. And what is so cool is, again, I've said this a million times, watching this in chronological order, watching Solo, and seeing what I can't think of his name, Aaron or Alden, whoever it was who played Alden, and his casting and Donald Glover as Lando was brilliant.
That's
when I saw
you see Billy D. Williams in this, and you're just like, holy shit, that kid nailed it.
He nailed it. He freaking nailed it. He was Billy D. Williams all day long. It's like, holy shit. And that's what it reminded me. It's like, I could really see those. I didn't have any problem seeing now an older Han because it's very believable. These characters, yes, we had different actors, but it was so well done.
And that works for me. I don't understand the people who keep wanting them to deep fake everybody.
No, please don't. It looks bad. Don't Irishman them.
Just stop deep faking them. Just get the new characters. Everybody understands. Anybody, even me, who wants to see, I'd love to see all these guys given a pill and go back to be young actors again and just play the parts. It's not going to happen. just recast them with good actors.
Now I will say this: Disney has done some amazing deep fakes, but when you look at what Netflix did, I mentioned The Irishman, where they took De Niro and Pesci and Pacino. It's so horrible. It's so off-putting.
I've heard bad things about that.
The movie's really good, but it's so distracting when you have De Niro look like he's 30 and he's walking like he's his real age.
I was going to say, you can't, I mean, even for as old as I am, I know I work out and I run, and
I walk different than I did when I was 20.
I'm in fairly good shape. But if you deep faked me as a 20-year-old again and then tried to like just have me walk around and do shit, it'd be like, he's not. That's just not right. He's just not.
No, it's that uncanniness. It's that something, that soullessness. It just takes it away.
It's either going to be one of two things. I'm much more cocksure of myself as an older man and just walking into the room, or I'm going to be walking like an old man in the room.
Yeah, and that's how De Niro was in that movie. It's like, he's walking like he's 80.
De Niro's not a healthy guy anyway. I mean,
no, I mean, all these guys were older, and it's like it happens. But I do appreciate that they recast and they avoided that when they did those earlier movies, and we can buy it, we can understand it. It's not hard for the audience to put it together. For Christ's sake, we're not
Everybody
stupid.
gets it. These guys are in their 70s now.
Yeah,
Solo or Harrison Ford's got to be in his 70s. Right?
He's probably one of the oldest ones. He's probably pushing 80.
He was older than everybody else.
Yeah.
So it's understandable. Disney, just stop deep faking. Just go recast, for crying out loud. Do the right thing. You haven't done the right thing yet, but go ahead and do the right thing now.
They hired Favreau, so
it's a good step. I would just wish they'd
take
the next step and let him just do it. Do what he needs.
We'll see what happens. So coming up next week we have, what is it, Dave? Number 3?
Return of the Jedi.
Yes.
I can hardly wait. That's a good one. That's a very good. They really tie up a lot of loose ends in that.
It is really good, and we get the complete arc of Anakin. Is the finale of Anakin. The carnivorous Ewoks make an appearance. The little murderous bastards. We will
talk about the little murder Muppets.
Yeah, and see a very young Warwick Davis.
Yeah, as Wicket.
Yes. And I did see, just completely off topic since I mentioned Warwick, there is a new Willow series coming.
I heard that there was one in the making, but I thought they canceled it.
Nope, it's going. Disney put a trailer up, or a little behind the scenes with the actors and Warwick Davis and everything. I don't know. Fingers crossed. Ron Howard, I believe, might be involved. I hope so. He should be.
If Ron Howard's involved and they just let him do it, it'll be good. If Ron Howard's involved and KK gets involved, it's going to suck.
We shall see. So lots of things coming down the pipeline. Make sure you hit subscribe, hit like, share us everywhere. And thank you to our new listeners. If you haven't figured it out, we spoil the shit out of everything. And it's just two old guys talking about two old movies or whatever the fuck's going on. So,
I keep saying it, but I'm going to make a little clip so you can put on there that says, we spoil everything. We use adult language.
Yeah. Yes. We use adult language. We spoil everything. But much appreciation to our listeners and anybody that's just finding us. Again, hit us up, drop us a line, tell us what you want to see. We'll be moving into other movies after we finish Star Wars, and I do have a special guest coming up for after we finish Star Wars. So
I'm very excited about this one, and
I'm looking forward to when I can share that info with you all. Yeah. So stay tuned, and may the Force be with you.